Turkesterone, does it work? Or more specifically, does Turk Builder work from Greg Doucette? I did a 40-day experiment and I'm here to share the results. Let's go. I took Turkesterone for 40 days and I made sure to fully max out the dose so that there could be no excuses. I took 3 pills a day, 40 days straight, and I'm going to share my results, but not right away. Let's talk through some things first. First things first, there have been studies done on Turkesterone, but Greg's claim was that it didn't test actual testosterone, not testosterone, Turkesterone, the stuff that he actually has in his body. They didn't test true Turkesterone, which is what he says he has. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to buy it from anybody else. I'm going to make sure I buy it directly from HTLT Sups. I'm going to get the full dose and I'm going to try it for 40 days. I am possibly one of the best test subjects that you could have because I have a very consistent diet, a very consistent lifestyle. I use the same exercises. I am very, very structured in my programming. So if you were to see a boost, you'd more likely see a boost in somebody like me who has a much more structured lifestyle format than somebody who is, how do you put it, a casual, right? So this is something that I was very serious about. I made sure to keep things the same. I did not try and change things. I was very, very structured about this. I didn't go into this thinking, hey, like, what if I just don't train? Like, you guys have been watching me. I've been training hard. I've been working hard. I've been keeping things very similar. I even decided not to change things within my programming that I wanted to simply because I was doing this experiment. This was a very, very tightly controlled experiment. Now, let's go over some things to start. When it comes down to it, Greg made a lot of claims, and we got to address some of those claims before we address what I actually experienced. So, some of those claims that he made, because I was posting on Instagram, I was posting on TikTok, Greg came into my Instagram comment section and he made comments about Turk Builder. You're not supposed to be here. Go back to Tori. Man, this guy has no timing. All right. So a few of the claims that Greg made in my comment section. First things first, somebody said, Greg said he felt it after first dosing. Greg came into the comment section and said, absolutely, first day, definitely noticed it. Was that something I noticed? No, I didn't. I didn't notice anything immediately off the bat. It was just a regular old day for me. Now, somebody else early on in the experiment said, you got to make a video on its effects after. Greg said, yes, can't wait for the truth to finally be reviled. I'm sure he meant revealed, but he said reviled. Now, I thought that was interesting because, first things first, if you are trying to hide something from other people, you're not typically excited to see what the results could be. So even if it did or didn't work, Greg, it looks like, does truly believe in this product. So I give him props for that. If he stands behind it because he truly believes in it, that's awesome. Now, let's continue. Somebody said, so what exactly is Turk and how is it a supplement claiming muscle gain and yet not banned in natural competitions? And then I said back, Greg said it should be banned from natural comps, and I did put a laughing face with that. Now, obviously, it could be a little bit inflammatory putting the laughing face with it, but Greg came in and said it should be banned in competitions, in my opinion. I don't want to misquote him. It should be banned competition is my opinion. And I do think that they will eventually ban it once they develop better testing methods. So Greg thinks that this should be banned from natural competitions because he believes its effects are so great. When I said that with the laughing face that it should be banned, Greg responded directly to me, said, the funny part is how you're laughing as if they say that you know for certain that it's not as strong as I say it is. Basically saying like, oh, like, why would you laugh? Like, you act like you know. And I said, it is a pretty funny statement to make with the dearth of quality data on its performance enhancing capabilities, but I truly hope I'm wrong. I would love to gain some additional muscle. Now, I did mean that statement. Think about it. I've been training for, well over 5 years at this point. If we could quibble over the exact definition because not all of it was bodybuilding style training, but let's say I've been training for 7-8 years in total. If I can gain muscle in a small time period because of a supplement, I'm going to be happy with that, right? That is what I want. That is awesome because I'm scrapping for pounds of muscle at this point. Like, it's a very, very slow muscle building process once you get to a certain point in your natural lifting journey. So for me, if I'm able to gain some additional muscle with a supplement that's not banned, heck yeah, I'm going to take that. That's something I want. So I I want this experiment to be a success. But let's go over a little bit more before we go further into the results. Somebody was talking about creatine versus Turk Builder, how Greg said it was stronger. I never like to go off of what somebody else says somebody else has said, right? So I don't like the whole, well, he said that Greg said. So I would never go off of something that Greg did not directly claim himself. But luckily for us, Greg came into the comment section of that part and said, LOL, it's way stronger than creatine. Don't insult Turk Builder. A quarter of the results. Are you kidding me? I think that was because there was like some there was some comparison between creatine and Turk, and said something about like a quarter of the results. I don't want to go too far into that, but basically Greg is saying that Turk Builder shouldn't be insulted being compared to creatine. It's a pretty bold statement, but hey, let's continue forward. He also responded to somebody else and said it won't take him 4 weeks to know that Turk is way stronger than creatine. So Greg has not only claimed that you would feel initial effects right away with Turk Builder, he's also claiming that you will notice results long before the time period that I actually used it for, okay? That's very important to note because I've had people say 40 days isn't long enough, etc. I'm like, if it has the effects that Greg says it does, I should be able to notice it in this time period according to him, not according to me. All right, let's continue forward. Oh, I guess we went through the majority of the comments that Greg left on my posts. Next thing, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it has a money back guarantee, so like that just shows you how much he believes in it. To put it bluntly, money back guarantees don't really mean a whole lot, just because a lot of people aren't willing to go through the process. This is marketing 101. People know that, okay, there's a lot of steps, usually a lot of hoops to go through to get your money back, and a lot of people just aren't going to go through those. So you're probably not going to lose out on much if you have a money back guarantee on things. And then when you have stipulations to go with that money back guarantee, probably not going to happen either. I am not discrediting the business practice of the money back guarantee. I am simply stating it's not one of those things that is really going to be that effective against a false product. That's why you see lots of stuff on TV that is pretty obviously scammy, still has money back guarantees. I'm not saying Greg is scamming. I'm just saying the whole money back guarantee being a check to make sure that you're getting the absolute best product, it doesn't really work like that. Not in the business world. So if we take a look at the money back guarantee, you can see that I don't qualify on pretty much any level. And here's the reason. One, it can only be used on single products. I bought 3 of these because I needed 3 to get a serving size of 3 capsules for the entire 40 days. So it would only have applied to 1 bottle. Next, it can't be empty. So you can't even go through and use the entire thing and then send it back and be like, I didn't like it. You'd have to have stopped at some point in order to send it back. Then you got to go through the whole like shipping methods, stuff you pay for shipping, all this. I'll put up in case I misrepresented the money back guarantee. I don't want to do that. Like this is not me, again, this is not me going against Greg's practice, the money back guarantee. I'm just explaining to you how it would work in my situation or not work. So I will put it up on the side. If I misrepresent anything, I truly apologize, and you're free to correct me down in the comments. I will take full responsibility if I did say something wrong in that regard. I mean, it looks like what I said is right, though. Maybe it could be wrong. I have not lawyered up on this topic. Now let's talk through results. Okay, so first things first. Did not notice anything immediately off the bat. Did not notice a surge in performance or aggression. I know that was something that other people had talked about, and it had been said that Greg struggled with sleep and stuff like that because he was taking it a little bit too late in the day, so he's just taking it earlier in the day. These were a lot of claims being made around the acute effects of it. I didn't notice any of those. Next thing, I was looking to see if my lifts would improve over the course of this time, more so than they would have improved with me just having a regular training program. I did not notice that. So if you take an example like my preacher machine curl, right? My preacher machine curl, I can max it out for about 3, maybe 4 reps on a good day, and I'm pretty much in the same boat at this point. So, but one of the reasons I like exercises like that for determining things is simply because of the fact that they're so stable. They're very stable. It's going to be almost directly work on the biceps. It's very hard to cheat it unless you really go out of your way to do so. I'm pretty much in the same range with that. Maybe I get 4 a little bit more often, but it's a lower rep range, which can give you a better indication. That way it's not based on your overall cardio or anything else like that. The other thing that I did was I did do a 1 rep max bench, or I attempted a 1 rep max bench to see if that had improved. I know without training, you've seen me, I can go in and I can hit like a 365, 385 range. And the reason for this is because of the fact that if you actually add contractile units to the overall frame, there should be an increase in strength to go along with it. I know this is like, people are like, oh, well, you're training for hypertrophy, you're training for strength. There is a lot of overlap, especially when you're talking about muscle building relative to strength, right? So you can develop strength without necessarily developing muscle. It is very hard to develop muscle without developing strength. And the reason for that is simple. You have more, you have more to recruit, right? So if I was to gain an additional 5 pounds of muscle in my chest, triceps, shoulders, whatever else, you would expect there to be a pretty good gain in actual ability to output force. I didn't experience that. I went for a 405 bench today. My 365 bench moved kind of similar to the way it typically moves. My 405 didn't land, right? So there was no significant performance increase on a lift like that. And I understand, right? This is not a perfect way to test these things. I didn't do a DEXA scan or anything like that. I understand that there can be critiques of the way I perform this experiment, right? I am not saying that this is perfect. I am simply giving you a little bit of an idea as to how I was testing it and why I will or will not be taking Turk Builder in the future. And I'll tell you straight up, I'm not going to be taking it in the future. There's just I don't see any real benefit to it for myself. In fact, Greg actually said in my comment section when I did an update on my Turkesterone, and I said I hadn't felt so this was about 3 weeks in, I said I hadn't felt anything beneficial from it. Greg said, if I didn't notice it in 3 weeks, I would just go and get a money back guarantee. If you don't notice it in 3 days, I would say don't even bother, because there's no way that if you respond to this, it's going to take 3 weeks to notice anything. I noticed that the very first day. I actually disagree with what Greg's saying. I mean, simply put, a supplement can work over a longer period of time without you necessarily noticing acute effects of it. So I actually disagree with him. I was giving him more leniency towards the product than he was giving himself. But I don't know exactly why he wouldn't want me to continue the experiment, would want me to just go straight to a money back guarantee. But long story short, I was going to finish the experiment no matter what. And he thought I should just go get a money back guarantee if I wasn't noticing acute effects from it. So if that's how strong he believes in the acute effects of it, if I was a responder to it, which he would claim I'm a non-responder, I'm sorry, 40 days should have been enough time to see those performance increases. It should have been. And if I'm not seeing those performance increases, there's only one of two explanations. One, Turk doesn't work, or two, I'm a non-responder to Turk. It's one or the other. You can try and reason your way through some random little loophole, like it's probably just not the case, right? If I was to hop on testosterone, I would see some immediate strength increases. I would see some immediate tissue accrual increases. Like, these are the types of responses that you get from true performance enhancers. Like, that is the way it works. I would not say that Turk was a performance enhancer for me in any regard whatsoever. And I think if you were to argue that it was and that I just didn't take it for long enough, then you don't really understand the claims that Greg is making about this product. Add to that the product cost me $180 just to take it for those 40 days because I was taking the 3 pills. It's like, I understand, like, maybe I have the finances to do it, but a lot of people won't, right? So if you're taking it as a just in case, it's a lot of money to spend for a just in case. And according to Greg's own logic, if you don't feel the response from it within a few days, you probably shouldn't be using it at all. All in all, this was a fun experiment. I enjoyed it. I am making no definitive claims on Turk Builder itself. I am simply stating my overall results from the experiment, and I expect Greg will probably respond to this. I think I've given a pretty fair representation of the overall situation. Maybe he doesn't see it that way. Maybe he does. I guess we'll see. Also, the fact that Greg has never done a natty or not on me is beyond irritating to me. Simply because of the fact that obviously natty or nots get people exposure, and come on, man. A lot of people think I'm a fake natural. You gotta do it. You gotta do it at some point or another. I don't care if you say I'm not natty, but you gotta do one. Like, come on. Come on. How have we gone like a little bit back and forth for the last 3 years, and this has never happened. Unreal. Regardless, guys, I hope you got some value out of this. I do not want this to be something where people take it outside of what I've said, right? You can draw your own conclusions, but please do not misquote anything I've said in this video. Please do not take an individual, like, 3-second clip and try and turn it into something it's not. I tried a product, it didn't work for me. That is all there is to this. Now, you guys can take whatever you'd like from this conversation. I just hope that we can overall remain relatively positive in general, and I will see you guys in the next one. As always, love you guys, appreciate you guys. TNF out.